Grip socks are great, but why pay up to $40 for a single pair when you can pay a lot less? Stop wasting money and get yours for just $14.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
So look at this. Pretty good, right? And now look at that. Like, what is that? Could they have made the back of this boot any chunkier? I gotta hand it to Adidas. They've recently stepped up their game when it comes to the quality of their takedown models. And what I have here is the first takedown option in the new X Speedflow lineup, the Adidas X Speedflow.2, bearing a retail price of $130, which is a lot less expensive than the model above it, the Speedflow.1, which runs you $250. It features an upper that's actually not too far off the top end model, but the sole plate and certainly the construction of the heel is nowhere near what you're going to find from the more expensive options. And I know what you're thinking, is it really that big of a deal? And I guess depending on who you are and which boots you've worn before, it might not be. But when you consider its main competitor in the $140 Nike Mercurial Vapor 14 Pro, that's an excellent pair of football boots for the money. And given that these are just $10 less expensive, I'm not so sure they're on the same level. So with that in mind, I want to go over all the details of the new Speedflow.2, talk about what's good, talk about what's bad, talk about what is just downright questionable, take a look at how they fit and feel on feet, and ultimately decide whether or not this $130 budget option is actually worth the money. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire review. And if you're interested in a pair for yourself, you can get them below their normal retail price by way of some SR4U coupon codes by checking out the first link down below. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the video and perhaps want to see more reviews of all the new takedown models that have recently come out, don't forget to support this one with a like and let me know which boots you'd like to see reviewed down below in the comment section. Also guys, thank you so much. We just recently passed 700,000 subscribers on the channel, but we want to keep the momentum rolling. If you guys regularly watch the content, enjoy it, but aren't actually subscribed to the channel, it'd be great if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Sick voice crack. So first things first, we'll start with the upper, which is by far the highest quality aspect of the Speedflow.2. It's what Adidas calls speed skin, very appropriately named. And as you can see, it's a textile base with a fuse overlay, so it's basically a really thin synthetic material. And then if you look inside, it has a little bit more of a traditional, kind of like synthetic suede type material as a liner, with little cutouts running through the midfoot, and then of course it gets more solid through the forefoot and toe box area for structure reasons. As far as feel is concerned, it's pliable, it's flexible, and honestly, doesn't feel too far off what you're gonna get on the top end Speedflow.1. It's a touch thicker than that, but in general, I think you're gonna have a hard time telling the difference between the two from a feel perspective, in that it's equally as thin and equally as pliable, really feels nice on your feet, and is well above average for a football boot of this style at this particular price point. It doesn't have the same texturing on the surface, so it's a little bit slicker on the ball. That's something that's definitely worth noting, but it does maintain the one-piece upper construction with a prime knit material running directly down the middle, kind of filling in that central portion of the upper, and honestly giving you this nice close wrap across the top of your foot. Of course, a dual lace hole setup can also be found to help hold your foot in place, but then this is where we get to what I would say is a very questionable decision by Adidas, and something that just doesn't make sense given how sleek and slim this entire football boot is. The heel is just chunky and massive and awful. And it's not even finished nicely. You can see here on the inside, there's that little bulge. That's not intentional. There's no padding there. It's just loose lining material that hasn't been kind of put together properly. And you have it on both sides of the heel liner in both boots. So it's not even something that's specific to this pair. What you're gonna find though is a low cut construction with a very heavily padded rear piece that doesn't come up quite as high as what you're gonna find on the top end model, but it's done in such a way that looks and feels very, very cheap. You'll see when I have these on feet how ridiculously chunky the heel is compared to the rest of the football boot. The heel liner is kind of that reverse rough side of Velcro that you're going to find as the liner on the Speedflow Plus. It's very similar to that material at least, and you can see they even implemented some extra padding on what is already too much padding in the first place to give you what looks like the heel pillows that you'll find on the top end models, but ultimately just feels like a gigantic amount of foam sitting at the back of your heel, kind of just extending your heel more than pretty much any other football boot that I've ever worn. It really is an unusual layout. And then the worst part of all this is, like a lot of Adidas Takedown models in the past, something that I thought they were improving over the last couple years, this has a super shallow fit where your heel feels like it's gonna pop out of the heel liner at any point in time. It's not necessarily going to do that. They do feel relatively secure, but it just has this sensation of feeling like your heel isn't locked in place, which is very difficult to describe, but when you put them on your feet, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And then again, something that Adidas tends to do with their second tier takedown models, which I don't think should be the case, it just has a very cheap, fully glued in insole. It's not that it feels bad or anything like that, but something removable that kind of has a predetermined shape rather than just a flat piece of foam that they cut into shape and then glued down. You just expect something more premium for 130 bucks, especially considering that pretty much every other brand is giving you a proper insole at this price point. Moving to the base of the boot, you're going to find a sole plate that looks kind of like the speed frame found on the top end model, but really isn't. It of course does not feature the external heel counter, but does feature visually some of the same structure elements, although it's definitely not as structured anywhere through the bottom of the foot. It's relatively stiff through the heel and midfoot as you would want, and then instead of featuring that carbon fiber Carbitex insert through the forefoot with the raised toe, it's just regular plastic with an orange plastic insert to kind of mimic the overall design. As far as flexibility is concerned, this sole plate is way softer than what you're going to find on the top end model and offers none of the same feel or that spring back effect. Not a bad sole plate, but nothing that relates at all to what you'll find on the high-end options. And then as far as the stud pattern is concerned, that is a direct carryover. This is of course the FG layout. It's the same general layout of studs we're used to seeing from the Adidas brand, but of course with more of a bladed shape to all of them, providing a relatively aggressive amount of traction for use on firm natural grass. Again, maybe not quite to the same standard as a pair of Mercurials, but it comes pretty darn close. Which brings us to the weight, where once again, I think Adidas just needs to do a much better job with their takedown models. Certainly one that falls into the speed category that they're charging more than $100 for. In a size 9.5 US, you can see the Speedflow.2 weighs in at 8.75 ounces, the equivalent of 248 grams, compared to the 0.1 option that weighs in the low 7 ounce range. This is in the high 8 ounce range, which is not only kind of above average for a modern day football boot, it's just not very light for something that falls into the speed category. So if you're hoping for that super lightweight feel, these do not have that on offer. So here they are on feet, and honestly, everything about the fit and feel of this boot is great except for the heel, where I think you can see how much extra material and bulk is there, and also something that you don't normally get to see are the grips on the back of my Pure Grip Socks Pro that I'm wearing, but because of that really shallow heel, you can see how much of my heel is actually left exposed, sticking out of the boot because of the way that they've done the heel area of the Speedflow.2. Really, really questionable. Speaking of the socks though, these are Pure Grip Socks Pro. For those that don't know, this is my own brand of grip socks. This new Pro variation features an upgraded material that is super soft, super stretchy, and of course features the grips along the bottom of the foot and the back of the heel. They're available now in a wide variety of colors for just $16.99 a pair. If you're interested in trying some out for yourself, the website to visit is puregripsocks.com, which of course will be linked down below. As far as everything from the heel forward is concerned, the Speedflow.2 actually feels quite nice. Like I mentioned, the upper doesn't feel too far off what you're going to find on the much more expensive Speedflow.1, which means that it has an above average premium feel and touch on the ball for a lot of football boots at this price point, so that's really good. The general shape of the boot, again, aside from the heel, also isn't that far off the Speedflow.1, which means that it wraps your foot nice and close with the laces tied tight, although there definitely does seem to be a little bit less volume through the midfoot of this boot compared to the higher end options, which from a width perspective means that this is probably not going to be as wide. So if you do have really wide feet in general, I don't think these would necessarily be the greatest option for you, but I think they will fit most people as long as you can live with that super bulky, super shallow fit through the heel. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, there's really no other way to say it. I'm just disappointed with the Speedflow.2. I think it has one of the best synthetic uppers you're going to find on any pair of Takedown model speed boots, not just available right now, but available in the last 10 years or so. They've really done a good job there, but the heel liner and general heel construction is downright shocking. The fit could be significantly improved. For $130 speed boots, they are not light enough, and then the sole plate is just really nothing special. It really only has the upper going for it, and because all the other elements are either bad to just okay, it's one of those football boots that's very difficult for me to recommend over the $10 more expensive Mercurial Vapor 14 Pro from Nike. I think if you're looking for a higher end speed boot feel from a pair of football boots that don't cost $250 or more, you'd be much better off with the Mercs over the Speedflow.2. Anyways guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check that out. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.